Hello, my friend. Welcome to the forecast for January 20th till January 26th. My name's Desiree DeLune. I'm your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer working with elemental medicine and giving you the forecast for the upcoming week so that you know what you're going to be working with. Now, have you noticed a shift in the air? Do you feel the change? Do you feel the activity starting to bubble, starting to ramp up a bit? Well, we've got a very interesting week ahead of us. And one of the big highlights I'm going to say is our Sun and Pluto conjunction. And Sun is officially moving into Aquarius season. So I'm going to share my screen. And while I do so, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video is available each week. And please share away. All right. Now, look, our sun here, we have moved in actually today, or if you're watching this on Sunday, it'll be tomorrow. But on Monday, the 20th, sun goes into Aquarius and it is getting cozy up with Pluto. Now, as you can tell, just on this day alone, these two planets are only a degree away from each other. When we take a look at Tuesday, the next day, they are in the morning. Well, this is on Central Time at 9 a.m. Central, but right around 9 a.m. Central Time, they are literally next to each other in line. So this transit, we are going to feel it. So let's first talk about Sun in Aquarius, also Pluto being in Aquarius, and just what Aquarius energy is about. And Aquarius is very futuristic. It is progressive in its ideologies and its thinking. It is a visionary and thinking about the future. And it is wanting this evolution. It is wanting growth, freedom, independence. So it has a rebellious streak to it. And it is not going to be okay with the humdrum. It is not okay with the status quo, not okay with the conventional. It needs something drastically different and definitely better, new and improved, cutting edge. And look, Pluto is this planet of transformation. The sun is a planet of our identity, even our values too. And it's our persona. And you know what's happening when these two come together? Some kind of a death and rebirth, some kind of like evolution of transformation, a drastic change. So a lot of us are going through this. Are you going through this? Are you kind of going through this death and rebirth experience of your identity? I've been saying that, the reinvention of ourselves, reinvention of our identity, and really like taking a look, like rather than just operating on autopilot, Pluto and Sun together, we really have to take a look at ourselves. There's no way around it. Like it's also about evaluating and reflecting and going inwards, all right? And really understanding what motivates us, what is driving us every day when we wake up, and having a connection to that and having an understanding to that inner drive inside of us. I mean, what are we here to change? What are we here to do? What are we here to bring forth? Because there is so much new birth, new energies that is wanting to move through you and throughout you and come from you, emanate from you. So there's no escaping this change, okay? And this conjunction, it peaks on Tuesday, but it is around until January 29th. So we're going to be feeling this into the Lunar New Year. Okay, so we have that happening. In addition, we have Mars. Now, we don't have the Mars-Pluto opposition any longer, which is nice. But it's more of the Mars and Sun that are in opposition too. So Mars is also going to just accelerate and intensify this whole thing around Aquarius and your identity and your values and your goals and also how the world interacts with you too, because the sun is very bright, right? It's the part of us that's seen. And so how is the world, how are you wanting the world to respond to you as well? So just know that Mars is only going to like accelerate and add heat, add more fire, add more fuel to the fire to this process, to this situation that we're all going through. Now, Moon, however, is in Libra, which is a pretty peaceful sign. It likes harmony, it likes beauty, it likes symmetry. However, I mean, it does have a trine to Jupiter, which is nice, but it's got some squares going on. All right. We've got the Mars that is in square with Moon. So this can bring some irritability and some frustration and annoyance with some of our changes and things that we're moving through. And then it's also in square with Mercury. So then there's just kind of like having some struggles, maybe describing what is going on inside of us. Have you ever just felt a huge amount of different energies within, yet you don't know how to talk about it? You don't know how to explain it. You don't know how to articulate it. And then we've got just Mars just heating up everything, right? Because it's in opposition with the sun. It's square Moon. It's even in opposition with Mercury. So Mars is like not playing super nice. So there's going to be a bit more frustration and irritability with the process. This is the kind of change that may not feel super fun and pleasant, yet it's happening and it's necessary, and just breathe through it. When the moon is in Libra, my recommendation would be to surround yourself in beautiful surroundings or even in nature where you do see symmetry, where you do see harmony. I mean, nature just provides that on its own. But maybe like listen to some great music too, because Libra is about the arts, it's about beauty, it's about music, literature, read a lovely book, like things like that will be what's going to help your body and your emotional experience to be more just harmonized and find some semblance of peace and soothe yourself by doing that, and always look to the moon to support you when you're having a bit of a rough go. Okay. And at least we do have moon trine Jupiter, which that is nice. It does bring some warmth and kindness and even some optimism. So I'm hoping like that's the silver lining in all of these movements that are happening internally. We do have Uranus also trine Mercury, and that's a positive conversation here. And Uranus is going to bring that like creative problem solving, creative thinking, because the planet of Mercury, it's also in a very practical sign of Capricorn, has to do with our mind. And so when we are talking about Uranus, we're thinking, outside the box and coming up with solutions and answers and decision making that is just very, very like outside of how we would normally see things. So I like it. It's a good thing. We're going to possibly find some answers that we need that is going to move the needle, and it's going to be very unique and creative and different and very useful. So it opens us up, it opens our mind to embrace like a different approach, a different perspective to new ideas. And yeah, it's great in that way. Now, let's take a look at Venus. Venus is going to be trining Mars until January 30th. And this is a balance between like our relationships and our passion. And so we'll probably see some good chemistry happening with the people in our lives. I mean, you're going to have interesting conversations just from this Uranus trine Mercury, but also here we're going to see some passion and deep connection and enthusiasm and really good chemistry, possibly in the bedroom as well. See Venus and Mars, right? It's the opposites, but they're in a really nice conversation. All right, I do want to mention this Saturn square Jupiter. If you've listened to previous forecasts, I've talked about this interaction right here, where Saturn is this red one that looks like an H, and then Jupiter is the one that looks like a 4, and there is a red line in between, and there's a square. And this is going to be with us just for a couple of more days. It has been with us since November 19th, and finally, like, we're kind of at the tail end. And I have been speaking more positively about this, but you know what? Like, there's only so much challenge and so much obstacles that a girl can take. Like, at some point, like, luck needs to be on our side, and there's only so much like irritation and difficulties and struggles that we want to handle. Like, there's got to be kind of a reward at the end of this. And I love that, you know, we've had it for a bit and it's leaving in a couple of days, but it's also helped us to develop a bit more structure and discipline and responsibility, like bringing that into the conversation of our visions and our dreams and our hopes. So bringing a lot of like practicality into this too. But the one downside is sometimes Saturn can be kind of like a Debbie Downer, okay, or Desi Downer. How about that? It used to be my old nickname. Just really like, is this practical? Is this realistic? And really kind of shooting down some of the excitement and the enthusiasm and the hopefulness of a projected like vision or dream that we have. So as this square leaves, what I see is we learned the discipline. Thank you, Saturn, for that. Okay. We've developed some routine and structure. Thank you for that. And let me know down below if you find yourself doing that. Like, have you been really like implementing some level of consistency and discipline in some area of your life? I'm not saying it's got to be perfect, but has there been an improvement? How about that? Has there been an improvement? Has there been an increase in frequency in some sort of structure? And so what I like about this though is, okay, we got the benefits of Saturn, and now like, into 2025, like it's almost like we are going to be able to dream again. You know, I mean, I just recall back in like the teens, maybe 2013 up until COVID, even around that time, the pandemic, that was such an incredible season where, like, I personally, let me know if this is you too, but where I personally feel like I believed in things. Like, I believed in the possibility of this, and I had so much conviction, and I made things happen. Like, I devoted myself to certain enterprises, and it happened. It actually happened. It manifested. Like, dreams do come true, right? And then after the last like some years, it feels harder. It's just felt a lot harder to accomplish and do the things that I wanted to do. I feel like I've been up against a lot of obstacles and struggle after struggle and issues. You know, I had a divorce. Like, it was a lot more strife. And so what I'm looking forward to this next, 7-year era that I've been talking about is that there's going to be less friction. There's going to be better momentum. And for me, seeing this separation of Saturn and Jupiter square, like we're gonna lessen the load of complications and lessen the load of just the delays. That's the thing. Saturn brings delays. It slows things down. So as like the months unfold in the year of 2025, you're going to start to see a gradual acceleration. I feel, and we're already feeling the changes in the air. I'm feeling the changes in the air. It's like week by week, I can feel it just getting a little bit faster and faster, and just a little more ease. Like, okay, it's not taking as much effort as it's been taking for the last, like, so, 4, 5, 6 years, for example. Okay, so exciting. I'm very happy to see that change happening. Now, let's take a look also at Neptune trining Mars. Not only do we have this Saturn that's trining Mars, and I talked about that earlier, but also like Neptune trining Mars. There's a lot of trines to Mars, Venus trining Mars. And I love this because Mars is the planet of action. And I do know that it's in its retrograde and it's also in its fall position. The planet of fire here, and aggression and war, doesn't really like to be in water, and it kind of dampens it down. But we still have some of it, okay? And it's in an internal process because Mars is in retrograde. So it's more about we need to really check in with our own values and our dreams and our visions and our goals and ambitions that we have for our lives, and making sure that they are the right ones, the ones that we really align to, that they're the right ones for the times. Look, we're all complex beings and we have a variety of visions and aspirations within us. It's about expressing the correct ones in and considering the spirit of the times, like where you are at in your personal evolutionary process, as well as where the world is at. So certain things, it's like it's the right time to be addressing and nurturing and bringing forward. So these passions that we have, these deep desires that we have, we are going to see more movement and action towards them because with Neptune, like Neptune is our visions, it's our imagination, okay? And Venus is the planet of love. So we're in a season and all this Pisces energy. Look, you've got to love what you're doing. And I know that sounds super cliche and I can't stand being that way, but it's true. It's going to be incredibly hard, especially as a hypersensitive, as an empath, to do anything that your heart's just not in. It's dang near impossible. And so there's no reason why we should be forcing that. Okay. Look, I get there's time to be really practical. Absolutely. Absolutely. But do you see the stellium in Pisces here? This stellium and the North Node just switched over here on January 11th. And this North Node is going to be going through Pisces for the next 18 and a half months. So what does that mean? Like there's a huge focus on Pisces, and Pisces is incredibly sensitive, emotional, intuitive. It's spiritual. Like if what you are working with is not touching your soul and it's not touching your spirit, I'm sorry. See, like South Node is in Virgo. That's what's logical, practical. There was a time for it. Okay, especially when the nodes were in opposite positions here. That's right now is not the time for that. See, look, every ideology, every approach has its place in life. And this is why we've got to stop with this like black and white thinking, and we've got to stop with just it's only this and always this. Like stop being so dogmatic. You've got to be conscious of what the energies that our consciousness the matrix in which our consciousness is a part of, and work with that. It makes life so much easier. So yeah, it has to be in alignment with your spirit. It has to make you feel alive. And whether it's, something in your relationships, or in your personal life, or in your professional life, or in your creative life, or whatever, it just needs to be connected to your soul. All right. And it has to be something that you intuitively are feeling, not something that looks pretty on paper and it makes logical sense and it's super practical. Like that's not the way right now. It will be later on, but not right now. Okay, off my soapbox. Now, let's continue on to Tuesday. And Tuesday, this is when that Pluto and that Sun are literally right next to each other. Well, in terms of degree, obviously, they're quite a far distance apart, but they're on the same degree within this orbit. And so this just intensifies this whole self-discovery. This is a self-discovery that we're going through. And let me know what part of the chart is Aquarius landing in, and I will comment, I will reply to let you know how this Pluto Sun is influencing that part of your chart. Do make sure that you are responding based on whole sign houses with your natal chart. There's a link in every description of my videos how to look up your natal chart via whole sign houses. Don't tell me we got 2 houses. I respect all systems, but that is not the system that I am operating in. If you're going to give me a Placidus chart, please give me a whole sign chart. And so let me know. Where is Aquarius? What house? Is it in your 3rd house? Is it in your 8th house? Is it in your 12th house? Where is it at? Because the peak of it is here right on Tuesday. It's an exact conjunction. And then we also, not only that, our moon, it's still in Libra, which is nice, okay? It's nice and fluffy and, sweet, but do you see the square? So it is squaring all of this. Yeah. So whatever you're going through, even like mentally, like just it might be even be overwhelming and exhausting, because this is a lot. This is a lot to take in. This is a lot to process and a lot to move through. Our emotions are going to feel it too, and it's going to feel the tension. So it's kind of like that messy, hard transition process, kind of like when a woman goes into labor and the baby is coming through the vaginal canal and it hurts. Okay, that ring of fire is for real. It hurts, and you're feeling it. Your soul's feeling it. Your heart's feeling it. Your body's feeling it. Look, if you are just tapped out this day, and then it's square to Mars. So we've got Moon square to Pluto and Sun, and then Moon also square to Mars. Look, if you're just ragey, okay? If you become like a raging bitch on this day, makes total sense. So what do we need to do? Remember I talked about, read a nice book, maybe, I don't know, put yourself in beautiful surroundings, something like that. Okay. Put yourself in calm and peaceful environments. Let's not sit in traffic for hours this day. Like, let's try to create the most peaceful day as much as you can externally to help mitigate all of the intensities of Pluto, Sun, Mars just attacking your moon, which is your emotions. All right. Yeah. So there might be a lot of reactivity, a lot of heightened emotions, a lot of aggression, maybe even being defensive, being a little snippy at your partner or something like that. So relax and do what you need to do to calm yourself down. And like I said, serve that moon in Libra. Okay, now let's go to Wednesday. Wednesday, we have a change, and our moon is transitioning into Scorpio. Look, we still have the Pluto and Sun conjunction, and this anything within 10 degrees is still considered a conjunction. So you'll see it start to separate with each day because, the sun is moving about a degree each day. But understand that influence that I've been talking about, it's still there. It's still humming in the background for this whole week. Okay, so moon in Scorpio, this is going to bring a lot of emotional awareness and depth and really just feeling it all, and it heightens your intuition. So your intuition is going to be a lot stronger here. Moon doesn't like to be in Scorpio because Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and it's a very intense sign, and it can be a bit tumultuous. So I can foresee even Wednesday having some of its challenges. The one saving grace, though, it is in trine with Saturn. There is this blue triangle line between Moon and Saturn tends to bring some stability, some practicality, some logic and reason, some emotional maturity and wisdom too about, what you're going through. So hopefully Saturn can lend a helping hand on Wednesday so that it isn't just, so overwhelming, that your emotions are so overwhelming. But look, on Wednesday, if they are overwhelming, what do? You're going to be around water because moon is in a water sign versus when we were talking about Libra for the last couple of days. And with water, you want moving water, active water. So being around water where, like let's say in a creek where the water is rushing and moving, or a waterfall. I know that it might be cold in some parts of the world where you're listening to this from. A shower is moving water. So a nice, warm, hot shower probably will feel fantastic. So keep that in mind as a way to regulate your emotions and to help release emotions too. That water treatment will be very helpful. Okay, so we also have Venus getting closer and closer to Neptune. This is about 8 degrees. So, like I said, we got a lot of Pisces action. I talked about this in the 2025 forecast. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend. We'll go ahead and link it down as well. But look, we have Venus in a very ideal sign of Pisces. Okay, it's exalted here. And then we have Neptune, that is the modern ruler of Pisces. So Neptune does well here too. And these are in water signs. Now communicating with the moon that is also in a water sign. Now, when we're talking about water signs like this, and when the moon and Neptune and Venus is involved, our level of sensitivity, all right, because Neptune creates permeability and porousness, our level of connection to our creative side, to our spirit, to the cosmos, to your guides and angels and source and just whatever you connect with and channel, like it is crystal clear here. It is very, very clear. It is very vivid. It is very vibrant. So here, I talked about like emotional awareness and insight. It's going to be water's yin. It's more introspective. It's more reflective in nature. So you are going to feel and see things, and it's probably going to, like, you might have greater visions. You might see things like it's a movie, with your mind's eye. But if you have any clairs, like clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, you have that level of sensitivity, they're probably going to be activated and amplified on this day. So, especially as this Neptune and Venus come together. So, my artists out there, my healers out there, this is a really sweet time. You are going to have so much skill. You're going to increase your skills. You're going to increase the probably even like your creative practices, your creative output, like the things that you do and make and design and write or sing or whatever. Okay, when I say creativity, that's all kinds of creativity. You're gonna want to do more of that, and because it's just gonna come in so clean and clear. So enjoy it. Enjoy this, my artists and healers. If you have clients, if you are conducting meditations or circles or anything like that, woo, it's going to be powerful. It's going to be connected. It's going to be strong, and you're going to love it and enjoy it. All right. So that is the main one I wanted to talk about for Wednesday. Now, Thursday, the moon is just juiced up. This is a powerful moon day. It's also a trine day. Do you see the amount of triangles right here? I like Thursday. I really do. Look, we kind of have a pretty bumpy start in the beginning of the week, and it peaks on Tuesday. I feel like Wednesdays, maybe, yeah, I think Wednesday might maybe little hangovery from all of that, but we'll get through it. But Thursday's glorious. It is glorious. Look at all these blue lines. There are so many trines. There's some sextiles. So obviously, I'm not going to talk through all of it, but I'll talk through a good portion of it. We have moon sextile Mercury. Let's just start right here. This is just ease and flow between our thoughts and our feelings, feeling congruent too, like feeling harmony, just feeling way more at peace with ourselves and having more confidence too. And then we have Moon trine Venus. I talked extensively about that just recently, but that Moon trine Venus is really, and then it's also trining Neptune. So your sensitivity, your intuition, your emotional intelligence, your creativity, like all of that is kicked into full gear and maybe even on hyperdrive. So whatever your tools are, okay, for me, it's a pen and paper or my computer, whatever tools you use to facilitate like channeling that energy and bringing it into some physical form in this world, get your tools. I might even make soap that day. So just to give you an example, we also have Moon trine Mars, and then Moon is, trine Venus and Mars like this. This is actually a grand trine. Look at this. Moon is trining Venus. It's also trining Mars and back up to like that. So it's like we call this a grand trine. You see a triangle in the middle of the chart. And so these three planets are in conversation. This means our passions, our desires, our dreams, our pleasure, our fun even, we're acting on them. Mars is action. So we have movement and action, and also like our connection with our partner or close family members or friends, just important people in our lives. Like it's just, there's going to be a great flow. There's going to be a lot of fun and laughter and joy and enthusiasm, excitement. Like it's just going to go well here. And then we also have the moon and Neptune Mars. That's that discussion around like your visions, your dreams, your imagination, your creativity. This rules visuals like photography, film. That's what Neptune rules. So you're probably like, even if you don't, practice photography and film, you're probably going to get clear, stronger visions about something, or maybe like it comes up in your dreams. And that Mars just really circulates and heats everything up here. So we do have this opposition with Uranus, though. Moon has one difficult conversation with Uranus. It can bring some unpredictability in terms of our mood and our emotions. It can also give us some disruptions and just unexpected things in our day that we got to deal with, just fires to put out as well. But it can also bring these sudden insights and revelations or like a new way of solving some problem you have. It's very innovative in its approach. So there are some potential when we're dealing with opposites. It's a combination. Like you might either experience the difficult side of that conversation, or you're going to experience the really like beneficial light side of that conversation, or it could be both. You can have both. So you could have a disruption in the day or a sudden like revelatory idea or thought that comes to mind, and have both of those. So that's the only one, but oh my gosh, I love this day. We have two grand trines in the middle of this, and Moon and Mars are both of that conversation, and then sharing that with Venus as well as Neptune. All right, we have then Sun in trine with Jupiter. I love it because that's that square we used to have with Saturn and Jupiter. Gone. It's gone. Bye-bye. And then we have Jupiter in a really nice trine. And it's also trining a little bit of Pluto as well. But here, this is going to provide that sense of, again, like optimism and possibility and like faith and hope that things are going to work out. There's that silver lining. This transformation, it is powerful. It is real. This self-discovery, this reinvention of who I am, discovering who I am, like all of this is, you're going to feel good about it. So big like winds of change here on Thursday. Just feeling great about what you've been going through and what you're learning, and even looking forward to what will be developing moving forward too. So very positive outlook and a focus on growth and expansion. Okay, so there's that. And we do have Mercury coming around the corner is the last thing we're talking about for Thursday. And it's going to be coming around the corner and begin to conjunct with Pluto. It's not conjunct yet. We still have like 23 degrees away from it. But just know that this is going to get closer and closer. And that will also then start to occupy our thoughts. That's what Pluto will do. All right, so Friday, our moon moves, and the moon leaves the emotional roller coaster intensity of Scorpio, and now we're in Sagittarius. And it's very hopeful. It's very futuristic too. It's deep and introspective in this way. Like it's very philosophical. It's wanting to understand the meaning of, why we do things and the meaning of life. And it's in opposition with Jupiter, which can provide some emotional exaggeration. It can heighten our emotions too, because Jupiter just expands and makes things big. So it can make our emotions like a little bit more sensitive. It can blow things out of proportion. So be careful of that on Friday. And then one other thing is like being a little too optimistic, where we're losing the element of realism and practicality. So that could be one of the downfalls of moon in opposite with Jupiter. Now we do have moon sextile the sun. That's really nice. And that is going to provide a lot of ease between just our thoughts and our feelings. And there's going to be a lot of congruence there too. And let's see if there's anything else. Oh, Mercury has a lot of conversations. That was one thing I wanted to point out. So Mercury is in trine with Uranus. So this one is going to, when the way that we think and the way that we speak basically is going to have a Uranian quality to it. And that means we're going to start thinking a little different and thinking a little bigger and looking for change. It's looking for change. It's trying to find a way to improve our whole life situation. But creative problem solving here we're going to get from Uranus and trine with Mercury. I sometimes record these things like right before bed. So towards the end, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm getting tired. Okay, so another one, we also have Mercury sextile with Neptune. I love that. It's because we're going to be able to articulate our visions and even our creativity, our imagination. Like we're going to be able to express and talk about it and explain it. So that's really nice. Mercury is pretty much getting, yep, it's closer to Pluto. So now we have 7 degrees away. It's close. So Pluto and what Sun and Pluto's been going through, like talking about this identity change that we're going through. I mean, look at me. I've been doing weekly forecasts for astrology, and that probably for some of you, if you've been following me for a while, it's like, where did this come from? Right? And it's just an evolution. It's just an evolution of my outward like identity, what people know me for. Astrology's been a part of my life for years, and I'm just now starting to feel bold and brave enough to share what I learn and experience and my own interpretations of this. So this is just, I'm just a kind of a living example of what we're going through right now. But as Mercury is coming closer, what I like about Mercury coming closer to Pluto and the Sun is that we're going to be able to articulate what we have been internally going through. This change, okay, this transformation, this reinvention, all of that, like we're going to be able to explain and express. And Mercury is in a very practical earth sign of Capricorn. So it's gonna explain things well. It's very thorough. It's very like comb through every detail and even like making it make sense. That Mercury in Capricorn, I feel like Mercury mostly in earth signs, they make it make sense. That's their job. That's the job of a Mercury in an earth sign. So it's not, so far off. Like for example, I practice elemental medicine. I work with water. I work with fire in Chinese medicine. I work with the earth. Like that's not anything different. This is just another version of that. It's just another iteration of that. So it's not necessarily completely out of left field. There is a connection. There is a through line here. So that's the power of Mercury as it comes closer here. Even for your own self, even if you don't like verbally talk it out to somebody else, but what the changes, the internal changes you're going through, you're going to be able to logically explain to yourself why this is happening, why it's happening right now in this time and in this season of your life. Okay. So let's see. I think I went through everything I want for that day. Perfect. Friday, Saturday. We're almost there. I don't know how long this is now, but I try to be under 45 minutes. I really do, but I just talk a lot. Saturday, we're going to go to the moon. Moon is still in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is very like inspired. It's inspired, it's enthusiastic, it loves to socialize, it likes to talk to. It's more of a blunt and straightforward and honest approach for sure. But we have some squares here, and it in terms of our mood, okay, there are a couple of challenges. I'm not gonna lie. So Moon square Venus. It also is Moon square Saturn. So let's see. Moon's in Sagittarius. It's a fire sign. Get movement. Actually, with Sagittarius, because it rules like the hips and the thighs, I recommend if you're feeling the stuff I'm about to say and it's bothering you, walk or run or climb, like go hiking, go rock climbing, like really use your legs and your hips and your thighs, like really engage, okay, the lower body. So yeah, movement like that, because you're also generating heat. It's a fire sign. That would be my recommendation. So first we have Moon square Venus. So you see the two squares right here. One's to Venus and then one is to Saturn. And with Venus, that can bring some conflicts within like our love relationships, for example, might feel low in self-worth, like self-worth issues within a relationship. It's basically challenging our self-esteem, might need to seek validations from others to experience emotional comfort and security. Um, yeah, it's just like a lot of dependency on the external. So a little bit more neediness. Okay, that might happen. A little bit more neediness here. And then Moon square Saturn. Saturn is about responsibilities. So you might really feel the like crushing weight, the heavy weight of all the burdens and all the responsibilities that you are taking care of. Now, look, squares can they are spaces that challenge us into growth. So it's a growth opportunity. So that is also something that happens for sure. And it can help us grow like the need for discipline. Because look, Moon in Sagittarius, it's adventurous and it's free spirited and doesn't really like structure. And so we have this tension here where Saturn is like, you need to be structured. you need to like lay some roots down because Saturn is super earthy and cold and it's all about systems and processes. And Sagittarius moon is like, I'm a free bird. I'm independent. I want to explore. I want to go here. I want to go there. So, there's just that inner turmoil between like wanting to be free, but need to be disciplined and take care of my responsibilities. And so you're going to feel that fight, that internal fight, possibly. So yeah, like I said, move your body, generate heat, especially like the legs, the thighs, and the hips. All right, so that's Saturday. Let's take a look at Sunday. Sunday, we have a transition of Moon into Capricorn. And this is a more grounded space for the moon, but it is more practical in nature. So, as free spirited as you have been, like over the last couple of days with the Sagittarius moon, Sunday is like, okay, it's time to hunker down. Like, let's take care of what needs to be taken care of. So, practicality, being responsible, these are Capricornian themes. Being disciplined, get back to routine, like maybe prepare for the next week. Things of that nature is where the moon is where your mood is going to be leaning towards. You're going to want to do these things. This is why like from day to day to day, like you feel like doing one thing one day and then the next day you don't feel like doing that anymore. You want to do something else instead. And that's because the moon is moving around in the sign and it's impacting us and influencing us. Well, I plan on doing a video actually talking about how it's not just the planets and the stars that are only impacting us. It's happening in unison, where it's happening together. I also don't want people to look at these planets and stars and thinking they are the cause, they're the causation, but instead it's more of a correlation. So that's going to be reserved for another time. Now, besides this, we have Moon square Neptune. This can bring some emotional confusion. Also, challenge us to differentiate. It can be challenging here to differentiate between reality and delusion. So, this is where some of like our visioning or intuition, imagination, like can be a little bit strained and clouded and not quite sure. Plus, Neptune in a water sign in square with Moon in an air sign, a structured air sign. These are very like opposing opposing energies, and then they're kind of fighting off. They're squaring off too. So it's like a fight for reality, or is it a fight for the fantasy, and which one's going to win here? But it can bring some creative inspiration too. You know, it can actually ignite and stimulate. When we have squares in oppositions, it can stimulate things as well. It can stimulate that imagination. It can stimulate that intuition. I think one thing we have to be careful on Sunday is just the escapism and the avoidance of reality, and a use of substances or something like that to avoid reality and just dip into uh, delusions or fantasies that are ungrounded. So, okay. And is also look at how close this Mercury is to Pluto and Sun. So it's getting closer and closer. So next week we'll see, Pluto and Mercury also coming into conjunction where they're pretty much in the same degree. And then the following week, we're going to have the Lunar New Year. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to feel a change in the air. I'm sure you feel the change in the air now, but you're really going to feel it starting next week for sure. And we've got quite an eventful first quarter of 2025 in terms of like the rapid changes that are happening, honestly, like week by week by week. Okay, thank you so much. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell. Please share with somebody who might benefit from learning the energetic forecast for this week. And if you would like to be a part of my membership community, it is called Rise and Thrive. We'll link that down below. And I weave in all of this with Chinese medicine and essential oils and really empowering you as a hypersensitive, a healer, a creative, an empath, and using these energies for your benefit, and also really giving you knowing what to expect. And that's really helpful because I've learned that once I've learned what energies I'm working with, it makes it, I don't feel so out of control. And it's also helped me to let go of control too, and dance with what I got rather than, throwing a hissy fit about it, because it's so easy to do with fluctuating moods and thoughts and feelings. Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much. Love you. And I will see you in the next forecast.